Yeah,
Hey,
go for it, mate.
yeah, is it going to be another one of those golfers who comes and goes, sort of wins a major or two and gets lucky, or is
Johnson.
he the real deal? I mean, that's the big question. I think he could be. I honestly
Finn,
think
what do
he
you
could be.
reckon?
I reckon he's the real deal.
Winning his first major at the age of 23, joining Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, and Jack Nicklaus in that, prestigious little group there to win a major at such a young age.
Golf's in a healthy position post the Tiger Woods domination era.
Because I thought he was England's best bowler easily, and did a little
That
bit.
is bold.
Did a little bit with it.
It's a miracle! Oh, yeah! What about that one? Unbelievable! Balotelli, Aguero! Crowd cheers. Here's Siddle. Oh, the ball is close! He's given him! He's given him! Peter Siddle's got a hat-trick on his birthday!
Welcome back to the On The Ball podcast. This is episode 48 of the show. Today we're joined by, Broady, you've been on before. Jack, you're both Broadies. I can't really say that, can I? Jack and Finn. Jack, you've been on before, but Finn, we'll pump you up, mate. First appearance. How are you feeling, mate? Are you a bit nervous?
Oh, a little nervous, yeah.
I like to hear that. It makes me feel prestigious, but no. So we're here with a few golf experts to chat about the recently completed 2020 PGA Championship, the first major of the year. Is that right? Did they sneak any in before lockdown? Or
Nah, it's the first major.
Yeah, I think the US Open's in a month and the Masters is at the end of the year. So we all got around it this weekend, didn't we? A few of the other boys and us three, we were kind of keen. It actually worked well for us, the time zones, because it's just when you woke up, it was perfect. You could catch the back nine pretty much of everyone's day. And this morning we witnessed Colin Morikawa, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Winning his first major at the age of 23, joining Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, and Jack Nicklaus in that, prestigious little group there to win a major at such a young age. And he looks like the real deal. Finn, what did you make of his, 4 days?
I honestly thought it was a very mature performance, I'd say. He struggled early in the first couple rounds, but then had a really good weekend and showed it on Sunday on the back nine where all the money's made.
Well, I think he took home almost $2.5 million Australian dollars or something like that.
Yeah,
pretty handy.
It's
for
a big prize pool in the golf.
Payback, yeah. Especially in his second major.
Yeah, it's unreal. Jack, do you think he's going to be as good as those three that we just mentioned, or?
Oh, it's a big call. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but I was going to ask a question to you two and say,
go for it, mate.
Is it going to be another one of those golfers who comes and goes, sort of wins a major or two and gets lucky, or is he the real deal? I mean, that's the big question. I think he could be. I honestly
Finn,
think
what do you reckon?
I reckon he's the real deal. He's won more than he's missed cuts, so.
Yeah, what I loved from him today, especially, I got up really early and watched the whole last round this morning, but I just loved how ballsy he was, to be honest, on the back nine. Like, at 16, that was the major shot that won him it. He drove a par 4 and then made eagle.
Yeah. And
no one was getting it close really on that hole. Had to fade it around these trees, dogleg right, and he just took it on. I thought he'd lay it up and hit an unbelievable shot, and that proved the difference. So I think he's got a calm head on his shoulders, but he's not afraid to go for it in the big moments. So, he's going to be one to watch for sure. I loved him.
Yeah, was it the second shot on the 18th where he was on the fairway and he could have easily, we were talking about this, he could have, I think it was the 18th.
Yeah.
He could have just shifted onto the fat side of the fairway, and the hole was in a tricky location. He just went straight for it. He was really.
He thought he pulled it left of the green though, but.
Yeah, and he was lucky. He did get a bit lucky on that shot, but fortune favors the brave is what they say. So, no, very deserved. It was pretty cool though. I can't lie, I don't watch too much golf myself, but it was pretty interesting hearing, especially his conversations with his caddy, They seem to have like a very good relationship. It wasn't like the player dominating the choices. They seem to be working well as a duo, and that was pretty interesting to hear because I've never really heard that dynamic before. But that's enough for Colin. I think we've got around him quite a lot. Actually, Finn, you were saying you've got some things you'd want to say about him. You got emailed or something from your golf club?
Yeah, so he won his first PGA Tour event in July of 2019, the Barracuda Championship. And he made 22 consecutive cuts to start his professional career, which I thought's a really awesome effort, and a record only exceeded by Tiger Woods with 25. And now he's moved up to the top 5 in the official world golf rankings.
Jeez.
So
Handy
unbelievable.
stuff.
That's crazy.
Mm.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of him until he had his playoff hole on the final day of one of the tournaments against JT. I watched that one.
That was the Workday Charity Open, yeah.
Yeah, Locke, my older brother, who's quite into the golf nowadays, he was telling me about him and saying he's pretty good. So I was kind of had one eye on him all weekend, and
hits a
pretty
big
amazing to
ball
see
for
how
a
well he
little
did.
fella. Really, hits a massive
Yeah.
ball. He's only
Yeah.
like 5'9" or something like that,
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
one
right.
big
and like 70 something kilo, but smacks it. Pretty
The
It's
course-
impressive.
one of the best things about
course
golf. I
suited him, I reckon. It was a fader's course. He just
Yeah,
hit
look,
the
I
soft.
can't lie. That's a bit too technical for me there, Fino.
The power fade got him around.
It was a
But
tough
nah,
course though. Whenever you missed the fairway, like the rough was really long,
Yeah,
Yeah, the
So-
rough field.
I agree.
so you had to be straight off the tee, otherwise you were in trouble.
Yeah. In terms of that's enough for Colin. We've got around him.
Yeah.
In terms of people who impressed you or surprised you, Jack, who was there anyone who may not have won it? Obviously, we're all pretty impressed with Colin, but anyone else who caught your fancy?
Yeah, another one. I think he's come through. I think he's the same age as Colin in the college system. Was Cameron Champ? He finished on, I think it was 8 under, but he was right thereabouts on the front 9 in the last round. Just made I think it was a double bogey on the 9th hole, and then that sort of halted his momentum. But geez, he can hit it. He was hitting massive drives. These like stingers that hardly left the ground, but they were massive. And I reckon he is in that. Probably not as good as Colin, but he's in a similar league, and he'll be a very good player for a long time. So he certainly caught my eye this weekend.
Yeah, I don't know too much about him, but I think he played in one of the Australian tournaments late last year, I think.
Yeah, he might have. Yeah.
And I remember him from that.
Played the Australian Open.
Fino, thoughts on Champs weekend?
Oh, yeah, he wasn't too bad. Played a solid game of golf, I thought. Mostly on the weekend. Showed against the big boys he could match it. With his, I guess, long driving. Everyone calls him a big hitter, but he really showed nice touch around the greens and showed himself on the weekend.
And Fino, who impressed you? Who took your fancy?
Well, I thought Matthew Wolff, for me. He finished tied 4th, 10 under, 3 shots back, and I really thought he took his game to another level, considering that was his first major ever. So, yeah, it was really good with that unusual swing.
Yeah.
I was just thinking then, we're talking about all these names. The depth in golf is really strong at the moment. Like, there's so many guys who, are right up there. There's probably really 30, 40 blokes at the moment who could win a major at any time. It's really, it makes it really interesting because today there was so many good players at the top of the leaderboard, and you don't know who's going to win. So golf's in a healthy position post the Tiger Woods domination era, I'd say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Just looking at the leaderboard now, other people who I can't lie, haven't really heard of. Scotty Scheffler, he was pretty impressive. He only shot 2 under on the final day, but that's kind of just a testament.
Played pretty
of how
well throughout the
consistent
weekend.
He was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he didn't
his
choke. He
swing-
was solid.
Yeah.
His swing was, I think it was that last hole where they showed his tee shot. He absolutely sent it. Like, I actually thought he was going to fall over after the shot. And he had a big slicer on it.
Yeah.
No, I rated him. Xander Schauffele, obviously, we've kind of come to expect that from him nowadays, but he was impressive again. Very consistent every single day. And yeah, but apart from that, everyone else was pretty much expected. I guess Haotong, his first 2 days were pretty impressive, but then kind of got the wobbles a little bit.
I thought the big disappointment on the Sunday was Brooks Koepka.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure.
Lot of talk and didn't deliver. Like he said,
Yeah.
his quote after the third round, I'm pretty sure it was, he said a lot of guys on the leaderboard, but I don't think they've won. And he said, I guess DJ has only won one. I don't know a lot of the guys up there. And then he's like, oh, I reckon I'll win this because none of the others can, with a smirk. So just goes to show.
Got a bit ahead of himself, do you think?
Got to bring it on the Sunday.
Yeah, well, that was a surprise, I thought, because he's won the last 2 PGA championships, going for his third, and he's unflappable usually. He's rock solid, but found a bit of trouble early, and but karma can be a little bit of a you-know-what sometimes. So Next time, Brooks better keep his mouth shut. Just concentrate on playing golf.
Yeah,
he looked poised for the win all week, all tournament as well. He was kind of just a couple shots behind the lead at the end of every day's play. So even most of us were saying he's probably still the favourite going into the fourth and final day. But yeah, complete choke, 4 over par on the Sunday or Monday for us. In terms of other disappointments, Brody or Jack, I can't say Brody. I'm so used to it.
Nah, it's all right, mate.
Who let you down, mate?
Oh, I mean, in terms of guys who didn't miss the cut, most of the top players made it, but I think Ricky didn't make it. That was a disappointment. Beers Leishman. A shout out to Bainey out there. He loves Beers Leishman. He didn't make the cut either. I mean, Jordan Spieth was disappointing. He had a shocking final round, I think. And then Tiger, of course, he never really got going. And that was a bit unfortunate because I love Tiger. I love the way he goes about it, but he just never got going, the old fella. But I think a lot of those, players that have been up there this year performed pretty well, like DJ and even Rahm and Justin Rose and all those sort of players were pretty solid over the 4 days.
Yeah, I think Justin Thomas, he's probably the one I'd pick out. In the end, he shot 1 under par for the 4 days, but he came in pretty hot, the number 1 rank.
Yeah.
So I guess similar to Tiger, you would have just been expecting him to at least have one day where he lit it up, but he didn't really at all. Rory and Tiger were kind of all sitting around that even par mark all weekend. I have to say, we're not allowed to talk smack about Rory McIlroy apparently because Ben, our mate who's a big golf fan, he texted me saying, I think he said Rory got dogged out of it or something, saying that he was, I don't know.
There's always excuses. Always excuses.
Yeah. Always.
But yeah, in terms of the blokes who made it, I don't know. Was there anyone else who maybe who made the cut but just let you down a little bit, maybe choked on that final day? I guess Haotong. Do you think Haotong's disappointed with his tournament, or would you take being that good on
he shouldn't be, because he ended up 8 under, so he shouldn't feel.
I reckon he killed himself on the Saturday after his round. It would have been Friday.
Friday, yeah.
He spent about 5-6 hours on the range after his round of golf. Yeah, he had 5 under, I think it was, the second round. And apparently last week he split up with his coach. So that's what they were saying. He left, he left his coach. That's why he was on the range. So surprising, though. Cooked himself.
Yeah. Jordan Spieth came into the final day 7 over par. That's pretty... What's happened to Spieth? What do you think? he's just in a bit of bad form, or do you really think he just peaked early in his career and he's going to just peter out into just an average player? What do you reckon, Jack?
Oh, jeez. I think Finn's better off to answer this
Yeah,
one. But
right, we'll go Finn.
yeah,
Finn
go
boy.
for it, Finno.
No, I don't. It was an unusual performance, I reckon. Good effort to make the weekend, though. But he is struggling at the moment, especially with the putter and the driver, which are two big things in golf.
That's pretty important.
Gonna need them.
Yeah. That's like your serve in tennis. Jeez.
Yeah.
No, but we'd like to see a bit of improvement from him lately, considering he started his career unbelievably well with a few majors in the first few years. But no, he's settled back with the pack now, and he's got a battle to make the FedEx Cup in a few weeks, because the cut-off is sitting at 94th in the FedEx Cup right now. So look out.
I'd just say he's got time on his side, Spieth. He's still young, so I wouldn't panic. He's in a bit of a rot, but he'll be back. He's got talent.
Yeah, that's true.
Two guys that didn't play that well, though, over the weekend was Gary Woodland and Patrick Cantlay. They've been in pretty good form, haven't they? So disappointing.
The President's Cup, fellas.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gary Woodland. I think he was playing with Brooks. I think, and they were especially. I think the first 2 days they were playing together, and they were. Just, Woodland was just letting down the boys. They actually look alike. I always thought that at the President's Cup.
Yeah, they do a lot.
But yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the PGA Championship. Finno, I saw you talking today in our golf group chat about Gabby Ruffles. We went to school with her.
I watched a little bit of it.
Explain to me what that tournament structure is. I was so confused. It was like 38 holes or something.
So the first day or first 2 days is stroke play. They play 36 holes. And then the top 12 play match play the next, so day 3. And then I think it's day 4 is the final.
Okay.
I think they must play 36 holes day 3.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was going to say, surely there wasn't 20 playoff holes.
No. But
then they played 36 on the last day.
Then the final, they have 18 in the morning, lunch, and then 18 in the arvo.
But I think she's fair enough to get excited about her, because the college system over there is really strong for golf. Colin and Cameron Champ and the guys we talked about, they've just come out of college a year or two ago. So if she's doing really well in these tournaments over there, once she hits the pros, watch out. She could be the next Kari Webb or something like that on the Australian female golf players.
Yeah, so the tournament, I forgot to mention, the tournament we were just talking about was the Women's Amateur US Open?
US Amateur, yeah.
Yeah.
Did
she win it last year?
Yeah, she won it last year.
Yeah, so she's lining it up.
Yes.
But nah, that's all we've got. I reckon we leave with a few predictions. Jack Broadbent, what's next? The US Open in, I think, just over a month.
I think it's September.
Any bold predictions for who's going to win there?
Yeah.
Bold predictions. Ooh.
They don't have to be bold.
I like Daniel Berger's name, so can I pick him? Nah, I'm joking. I think one of the big names will win it. I'm going to pick... I haven't thought too much about this, but I'm going to pick Rory. Rory. I think he's going to bounce back. I think he's going to take it out. And then the Masters is after, which I think... I reckon Jason Day might win the Masters. That's my prediction.
We all want to see Tiger's 83rd record-breaking win, though. So, how long do you reckon that'll take?
I don't know. I was going to pick him for the Masters, but I thought that'd be a bit biased, so I didn't. Yeah. But I wish I hope he does. I mean,
is Jason Day not biased?
No, Jason Day's in good form. He's had a lot of top 10s.
There's only about 5, 6 elite Aussies that are up there. So compared to the 30, 40 Americans.
Yeah. Fino, what about you?
Or I'd have to say Koepka. He's won the last 2 US Opens, so look out. And then Justin Thomas, it's about time he performs in a major, I reckon.
Yeah, 100% agree. I would like to see JT
Yeah.
do on a major.
He's a
He
nice
seems like a
bloke.
really good bloke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
good.
Who do you reckon's the best player who have not won a major?
oh,
I'd need a list.
testament knowledge there.
There's a lot of them.
Ricky,
Has John Rahm
Ricky
won a
hasn't
major?
won one.
Yeah, Ricky's up there.
Yeah, because he's been good for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, JT, he hasn't won one, right?
No, I don't think he's won one.
Tommy Fleetwood
Yeah.
hasn't.
A couple of those
Lee
Europeans. Well, Paul Casey was up there today.
Yeah.
He's been
Lee
a
Hideki.
solid player for a long time, but
Yeah.
Hideki's been consistent.
yeah.
Hideki's putting's just been letting him down under pressure.
Yeah, he was probably just a few strokes off being disappointing. I think it would be a bit harsh for under, but didn't really light it up in any particular round.
Bryson made a run for it, but
yeah,
Oh.
the big Bryson.
Can we spend 30 seconds to talk about Bryson? Like that guy is a nutter. Seriously. But I'm warming to him, I think.
I'm a fan.
I actually agree.
He makes the sport interesting.
I think you're a fan of every single golfer, though, Finn.
Yeah,
Aside from that. I don't think you don't like.
True that.
You just love everyone.
I'm not a fan.
I agree.
Not a fan.
You need personalities in sport. That's my opinion, and he's definitely got one. He's a bit different. He's a bit strange, but
not a fan of the Shovel Reed.
Oh no, we don't like him.
No.
Patrick Reed, Patrick.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's pretty much all we've got. What are you boys doing tonight? Watching the footy or a bit of Farmer Wants a Wife?
Oh.
I think I might tune into a bit of Ninja Warrior. I think it's the finale tonight. And someone finally gets up the mount, whatever it's called, Midoriyama or something.
Midoriyama.
Yeah. That's on my agenda.
Oh, well, enjoy that. Have a blast with that. I'll go enjoy my Magnum for my dessert. And thanks for joining me, boys. I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing with this episode, but I think we'll be rolling into a cricket review after this segment. So enjoy that. Thanks, Finn, for making your debut. It was very short notice.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Jack, for coming back on.
No worries, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.
See you, boys. Welcome back to the On the Ball podcast. This is episode 48 of the show, 2 away from the milestone 50. As always, I'm joined by Christian Pilcher. Welcome, mate.
Thanks, mate. Good to be back.
Yeah, always good to be chatting with you. So today we've done quite a few episodes similar to this, but we're going to be discussing England cricket once again. We're going to be discussing the recent test match that ended 2 days ago against Pakistan, the first of a 3-match series. And then we'll be chatting about the England-Ireland one-day series that took place over the last fortnight. So we're going to start off. Well, firstly, how are you, mate? I feel like I need to. This time, obviously the people listening can't see this, but I think I need to mention that you do have you're in a nice little location that actually doesn't look too nice. I can't even tell. I can't tell if it's like a wasteland but you've got a background going.
Yeah, just currently at my holiday house at the moment, and I think there's a bit going on in the background. Not sure who did that. But
I can't tell.
Yeah.
But I am.
But same with you, mate. You're in uncharted territory.
This is outside. The sun's out. Well, now it's gone, but it's nice and warm. So I thought when in Melbourne, I've learned that anything over 12 degrees, you got to get outside and soak it up. You got to enjoy it because even in summer, you're not guaranteed that. So definitely, I woke up, saw the weather, and I was like, yeah, I'll make sure I get outside. So we're filming outside. So if you hear any weird sounds, it could just be, a bit of nature. There's a fairly major road right next to me, so it could be some cars as well. But yeah, so without further ado, we may as well just get stuck in. What do you think of the first test?
Well, to be honest, I didn't actually watch too much of it, but I must say I thought Pakistan had won after the first innings but turned out to be a good fight back from England. So pleasing result. But yeah,
Yeah, no, it was definitely a big result. I think England were behind the 8 ball the whole time until maybe an hour to go before they won. Like
Yeah.
they just didn't look like winning the whole time. Mainly thanks to a Shah Massoud 100 in the first innings, which really just set up Pakistan. In the end, it was obviously a good win from Pakistan, but good win from England, but it was pretty bad from Pakistan to let that slip. How many did they score in the first innings? They scored 326, and they had a lead of 120 going into the second innings, which is pretty average. But yeah, I guess it's a great win from England's point of view. Probably shouldn't just look at it as a pessimist and focus on the negatives. I should say fair play to England. Did very well given the circumstances. I wrote them off. Did you reckon coming into day 4 they were a chance or not really?
Yeah, no, I'd written them off as well. I think I shot you a text on day 3 or 4. I was like, yeah, we've certain loss incoming here.
Yeah,
So,
I think coming into day 4, England needed 220 or something. They had all the wickets left, but or maybe it was a bit more. I don't know. But yeah, they did pretty well. It looked there was a bit of an early, well, not a collapse, but there were quite a few wickets lost early, and then Butler and Wokes put on a magical partnership of about 150. They did it fast as well. They counterattacked. It came out on social media that Joe Root had said to Joss Butler before he went out to bat. He said, "You know who you are. Just bat. You love chasing down targets. Just bat like it's a one-dayer." And he did
wise
that. And
words.
him and Wokes went at a strike rate of just under 100, I'm pretty sure. So very well done to them. And, well, I may as well just bring it up now because we're talking about them, and that's why they got my 5 and 4 votes. We're back doing the votes again. I'm loving my votes at the moment. I just worked out a Brownlow from round 1 to the current day. So that's definitely not a huge waste of time and life, but that's all right. So I gave my 5 votes to Chris Wokes and my 4 votes to Joss Butler. Did you have the same, or did you get around Shah Massoud?
I definitely had Wokes as 5. He was obviously getting the 5, but I've found with these votes that they're quite hard to decipher, especially when you're doing 5 of them. But I actually gave my 4 to Stuart Broad because I thought he was England's best bowler easily and did a little bit.
Is bold.
Did a little bit with the bat as well, with a cheeky 29 not out to ensure that the lead wasn't monstrous going into the second innings.
That's a huge call, mate. I don't mind it though. I gave him 1 vote, but I think that's pretty bloody stiff on Shah Massoud to be taking him over him, but fair enough. So I gave my 4 to Joss Butler. I just think although he only scored, what did he score? 75. They didn't go just under 100 strike rate, by the way. They went at 70s, but I think they slowed down a little bit then when it got. I think when it got a bit closer, they got a bit more patient. Butler made 75. So although it's nothing close to Shah Massoud's 156, I just thought I don't do this enough in my votes. I don't favour the win. Like I don't respect the win enough, and it's very rare in a cricket game that you can really put the win down to 1 innings or 1 bowling spell. But it's pretty clear that the win came down to this Butler and Wokes partnership. So that's why I pretty much instantly picked them as my 5 and 4. But yeah, Wokes got 84 not out. Then he took 2 for 11. Made 19 in the first innings, not great. And then took 2 for 43 in the first. So he's ended up with about 4 for 50 and 100 runs in total for only 1 wicket. So it's a pretty bloody good test. I was looking on Twitter, I think ICC or someone tweeted, who do you think is man of the match? And even all the Pakistani people were saying it's Wokes as well, which is pretty rare because you would think someone who scored 156 in the first innings would instantly get 5 votes. But yeah, so Shah Massoud was limited to 3 votes for me. I don't know how he went for you.
Yep, 3 votes for me as well. I think the win probably came into account a little bit there by giving Broad the 4, but he did score a duck in the second innings, but he did have a great test, obviously. Great first innings. But yeah, 3 for me as well.
Yeah, it took 6 wickets, I think, 3 in each. So he got my 1 vote, and then I gave Yasir Shah 2 votes. He took 2 forfers. Yasir Shah, it's always a hard one because he takes a lot of wickets, but he bowls so many overs, and he usually goes for quite a few runs as well, actually. Wusi said the other day that he's like a good limiter of runs and helps the other guys take wickets, but I had no offense to him. I don't really agree with that. I know he watches more Pakistan cricket than me, but I think his bowling statistics in his career, like his average and stuff, show that he actually goes for quite a lot of runs. But it's more just due to the fact that he bowls a lot of overs. So it's always tough to judge his wickets. But yeah, he took 8 wickets for the game, almost had a temper. But this pitch did favour spinners, as it showed in West Indies. So I think he'll have a bit more trouble down in Southampton, where the next 2 tests are. But we'll see how he goes. So he got 2 for me, and Brawl got 1 for me. So who got you 2 and 1?
2 went to Josh Butler. I must admit he didn't have the best game with the gloves, which is why I docked him a few points. He missed a stumping, dropped a couple catches, let in a few byes, but
he did get really badly.
Yeah, but then again, as you said, he pretty much won the game with Wokes at the end. But yep, 2 for him and 1 for Shah.
Yeah, very fair. So that now, just quickly looking, we won't focus on this. We'll go back to talking about the Test series. But in terms of our overall leaderboards for, I don't know, Test Cricketer of the Year or Test Cricketer of the Summer in England or whatever, I've got Broad and Butler on top, which I have to say I'm not happy about. Butler, he's lucky to be in the team. I can't keep saying that, to be fair. He has played 2 really good tests, hence why I gave him votes. So I think he's locked in his spot for a little bit now. But him and Broad are on 7, then I've got Wokes tied with Roston Chase on 6. So you've got Stuart Broad on 10 votes, I think.
Yeah, he must be top for me now.
Yeah, he's well clear. Wokes is on 8 for you. And then obviously the Pakistanis, this is only their first test for you. So, wait, did you say you gave Joss 2 votes?
Yep.
Okay, so, that's your first votes for Butler. So, yeah, they're not really relevant. So, for you, it's just Broad and then Wokes and then a long gap back to Stokes. So, speaking of Stokes, it has been announced that he will not be playing the rest of the series. He's going to New Zealand for family reasons, which obviously takes him out for quite a while because, he's got to quarantine there and then quarantine here.
Yeah.
In England, so there's no chance of him playing cricket for the rest of the summer, pretty much. I don't think he would have played the T20s anyway. Obviously, I don't really like talking about the sporting impact with stuff like this or like long-term injuries because it's obviously pales in comparison in importance. It's just a game, really, cricket. But in terms of the impact on the England team, I think it's pretty huge. Although he hasn't done too much in the last 2 tests, I think England were a batsman short in the way they've been picking their team at the moment. I think they're a batsman short. I think Butler at 6 and Wokes at 7, although they did really well this test, is ambitious at best. So all of a sudden to take one of the best or the second best batsman in that England team out of that middle order, it's going to leave England seriously thin. Yeah. Do you think with Stokes leaving the team, do you reckon they have to go back to Butler at 7 and then pick 2 batsmen? Or do you think it's just a straight swap Crawley for Stokes?
Well, I'll say that I think they'll keep the extra bowler because the reason they've been playing this extra bowler is because Stokes has been unfit to bowl the last few tests, and now he obviously can't bowl because he's out. So I think we'll play an extra bowler still. Whether we should or not, that's a different question. I'm not too sure. I mean, it has worked since we've started doing it, but it does mean the top order has to bat well for it to work properly.
Yeah, as you said, it's pretty hard to judge because it's been working well, but I don't rate it, especially now that batting order is so fragile. All of a sudden, Root's out of form, has been for almost 3 years now. Sibley's in good touch, but, him and Burns aren't experienced like veterans yet. And then Pope, although he's really talented, he's not like consistent and reliable at this stage. So And then Butler's obviously had issues in Test cricket his whole career.
Yep.
So I think it's pretty ambitious to keep it with the 6 bats. I do get the logic with Stokes out, but I don't really know why you need 4 pace bowlers anyway. Like even when Stokes was playing, like I just don't get why you need 4 pace bowlers. I think even without an all-rounder, I think 3 pace bowlers and a spinner is good enough. For me personally, anyway, it might mean you have to drop James Anderson because I don't know if he can handle that workload anymore. I think they might be resting him anyway, just because he's played. I think he's played 3 tests in a row now, maybe even 4. I don't know. I think he sat out the second test, but I don't think they'll want to be pushing him too much. So I wouldn't be surprised if he sits out. So for me, the ideal lineup. But the issue is I don't know who the other batsman to bring in would be. But yeah, for me, the ideal lineup would be to sit out James Anderson, drop Butler down to 7, Wokes down to 8, slide in Zach Crawley at 3, Root 4, Pope 5, and then I'd probably just give Dan Lawrence a crack at 6, but I don't think that's very likely. I think the thing is, I don't even know if Joe Denley's in the bubble. I actually don't know. It's confusing. But so do you reckon Zach Crawley at 4? Or Zach Crawley at 3? What would you prefer to see?
I'd prefer him to be at 3 and Root at 4, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just pointless, really. I'm not sure why they toyed with Root at 4 and then like he seemed to prefer it, and then they just chucked him back to 3 like a couple tests later. Doesn't make much sense to me. Yeah. But yeah, I guess I'm happy to see Crawley given another crack. I think he was pretty unfairly dropped in the first place. I know it was for team balance, but nothing of his own doing. Hopefully they don't pick Denley again. Hopefully they give it a chance to someone else. To be honest, I'd almost rather see Butler and Woke stay at 6 and 7 than see Denley given another crack. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for the test. In terms of Pakistan, were you impressed with their side, or do you think England will win this series pretty comprehensively?
Well, my initial thoughts were these blokes are way better than the West Indies, but then we dominated them on the last 2 days. But they still are better than the West Indies, so I could see them winning a game, especially with Stokes out now.
Yeah, I think it'll be a very good effort if England whitewash them. I think 2-1's probably the most likely series result if the weather holds. But yeah, I don't know. I think both teams are in a very similar spot. I think they're both a batsman short. Although the middle order of Pakistan's very strong. I think Shadab Khan at 7, although he did have a nice little cameo in the first innings, I don't think he's good enough to be at number 7, really. He was just like padding up and running. So he's clearly not like a talented batsman. But the problem is, when we were talking about this in the predictions and preview episode, the other batsmen in their squad are no good either. They're in really bad form and they've never really done anything in their test careers. So I don't really know what they do. I think they've got to stick with it. They were pretty close to a win after all. It was just one wicket away really from winning that test. So I think they'll probably stick with the same lineup. I think the bowling attack's fine. So yeah, they've just probably got to lift. I did think Babar Azam would struggle. Although he made 70 in the first innings, both innings he got out similar way, schnicking off, trying to play a pretty aggressive cover drive. I did think he would have issues with that because he's a very fluent player. He likes to feel the bat on the ball, which he can't do in England. But yeah, Azhar Ali really needs to lift. They were saying something outrageous, like his average is 14 outside of Asia.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if that's 100% correct.
Must be huge in Asia then.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just in England but yeah, I'm pretty sure they were saying 14 or something for outside of Asia, which is outrageous.
That's yuck.
Yeah, and he's the captain, so that he needs to lift in particular. But yeah, I guess we'll just see how it goes. That's pretty much it for that. We've just got to see how the next 2 tests roll. I have to say, I was thinking about this before we came on air. It's frustrating because all the one-day guys are back playing county cricket, which is good to see. But then I'm pretty sure this is the only round they can play before they go into the T20 bubble. And then before you know it, they'll be playing IPL. And nowadays with the modern cricket calendar, it's just so hard for these guys to like impress to make the test team if they're playing limited overs cricket.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know how Johnny Bairstow has the time to show that he can still play test cricket without like sacrificing his limited overs career a little bit. I guess that's the decision they've got to make. But Johnny Bairstow is someone, I don't know how it all works because I don't know if you have to have been in the bubble this whole time to be picked in the team. But Johnny Bairstow is someone who it would not shock me if they gave him another crack, especially if they need someone to bat low like number 6 or something. That is if they only pick 3 bowlers, which is a pretty interesting call. But yeah, I don't know. It's probably not too likely, really, is it? It doesn't make much sense. But I know they do love Johnny.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah, it's true. But no, it's exciting when all the one day and T20 players play county, like Tom Ben's playing for Somerset, I think it is. But yeah, it's sad that they don't get more cracks at it. But that takes us to the Ireland tour of England. Such a big tour, such a large journey. What did you think of this series? You watched probably a bit more of this than the Test match. Actually, I was probably similar as well. But what did you think of this series? Were you impressed with Ireland, or do you think they just won one game just because England was playing like their B team?
Well, obviously the time zone made it so we could only really watch probably half of the first innings, maybe a bit more than half.
Yeah.
So the first 2 one-dayers, we saw Ireland be about 6 for 50 in both of them, and I was just like, Jesus Christ. But
this is a waste of time.
But then you wake up and see Kevin O'Brien did some things, and then obviously the last one-dayer, didn't watch it, but got no idea what happened there. Like, I don't know if we bowled like shit or they just put on a clinic, but that was definitely a shock waking up to that.
Yeah, I know. That took me by like a pretty big surprise as well. I won't lie, even though they really struggled, especially early on in the innings.
Yeah.
I didn't mind the Ireland team. I think they've got a few pretty good players. They were clearly out of their depth though. But it has to be said, coming back from lockdown, I think both teams deserve a bit of like slack. You can't really expect them to just come out and start playing like World Cup form once again. But for me, the man who impressed me the most, man of the series, I did my votes for this series as well. He won my player of the series as well, is David Willey.
Yeah.
Had an absolute blinder of a series. Obviously helped by the fact that their top order was very fragile, but he took 8 wickets at an average of 18. And how many runs with the shtick? How many runs he made? 98 runs in 2 innings, and one of them were not out. So just dominated with bat and ball. Not sure who would have picked that. In our preview for that series, I don't even know if we had him in the team. I don't know. I think we were in a toss-up between him and Topley, I think. But yeah, that's pretty outrageous that he's staked his claim that strongly. There is a vacant spot in that World Cup team, isn't there? Because Plunkett, if I'm not mistaken, he was in that lineup, wasn't he, for the World Cup?
Yeah, and Archer as well. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think Plunkett might have retired from. I'm not 100% sure, but they were talking about it throughout the series. So if there's a bowling spot open, basically, well, Willie's just gone and snatched that with both hands. None of the England quicks really impressed that much. Topley only got the 1 game, only took 1 wicket. Saqib Mood, he took 4 wickets in 3 games, but he was really blown out of the water by David Willey. I have to say, I do agree with what KP was saying. I don't know if you heard it in one of I think it was the first ODI. Oh, it might have been the second one. He was just saying it's the stupidest idea to rest players after they've had a 5-month break because of lockdown. And I have to say, it is very true.
Especially
I understand they want to
to
give everyone a crack. Yeah, I understand they want to give everyone a crack, but he was saying like Tom Curran being rested is like the stupidest thing.
Did Curran only play 1 match?
He played 2.
Oh, okay.
He actually didnn't do very well.
Yeah, I was very disappointed with Curran.
Yeah, economy rate is 6 and a wicket only 1 wicket. I think he is suited. I know this sounds weird, but I actually think he's suited against better teams because they'll try and attack him more, especially at the back end of innings. They'll try and be going at 10s and 12s and over, where Ireland were pretty happy to go at like 6s, which I don't think suited his bowling style that much. But yeah, David Willey, man of the hour. I have to say, obviously, it's not really much of a shock. He's a quality player, but Adil Rashid, he really starred with the ball. 5 wickets, economy rate of 4. So really impressive stuff from him. The Ireland players just had no idea at some points with him, and he really took control of the games in the middle periods. Moeen Ali didn't take a single wicket, so maybe similar to Tom Curran, he needs people to attack him, maybe. But yeah, probably not ideal for his hopes to stay in this one-day team. I know he's a bit of a legend, but he didn't have the greatest series either. He only batted once, actually, which was pretty stiff for him, and he only made 3. So he could be getting shipped off out of that team for maybe Liam Dawson or something, which is not ideal news for Moeen Ali. In terms of the Ireland side, they had quite a few players impress me. Curtis Campher, it was his first ever series for Ireland. He made 127 in 2 innings, 1 not out as well. He made 2 50s. And then with the ball, he took 5 wickets in 21 overs, strike rate of 25. So although he was batting very low, so a lot of the times he had like plenty of time to bat, he did very well. He's a young guy who came over from South Africa, I think. They were telling a story apparently in county cricket. He was versing Niall O'Brien, Kevin's brother, and Niall was batting, and Curtis Campher walked up to him and said, "By the way, I'm eligible to play for Ireland if you want to pick me," which is a pretty strange tactic. Maybe I'll try that tactic for Scotland. I'll find some Scottish cricketer, just let him know. But yeah. And then in terms of the other votes, so Campher got 5 votes for me, and then Bairstow and Sterling were also tied on 5. They both scored hundreds opening the batting in their respective games. So yeah, pretty big win for Ireland though. Although they lost the series to win an ODI against a somewhat full-strength England team. Doesn't happen every day. As I think I put it on my Instagram story, the last time England lost to a team that was ranked outside the top 10, I think was early 2018 against Scotland. So doesn't happen too often though. So very impressive for Ireland, promising stuff. But yeah, any last words on this little one-day series? I can't lie, it wasn't that important, but anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I'll just say congrats on Ireland for that clinic in the last one day. Took everyone by surprise. I must admit, I went to sleep and we were going at like 7.5 and over with plenty of wickets in hand, and then we didn't even make 350. So big collapse must have happened after Morgan got out. But yeah, Ireland deserved it.
Wait, did I say Bairstow scored 100?
Yeah, I think so. I think he scored 80, didn't he?
Yeah, he scored 82, sorry. Yeah, my bad. Owen Morgan was the only Centurion. In terms of our predictions, I just remember we did predictions. I think we both said Bairstow top run scorer. He was 4th behind Morgan, Billings. Oh, I didn't mention Billings, but as to be said, he did pretty well, but he was kind of coming in junk time. So Morgan, Billings, Willey, and then Bairstow in at 4th, so we're pretty far off there. Top wickets, I once again don't really know who we said. I think we both said Tom Curran.
Yeah, I said Curran, yeah.
Who was tied 4th behind Willey, Rashid, and Mahmood. So 2 really good predictions there from Pilch and Cork. Ireland batting, I think you said Balbirnie and I said Kevin O'Brien. Balbirnie was 2nd behind Sterling, and O'Brien was 6th. So some really good, some more really good predictions. I guess Balbirnie did all right, scored a century. And then Ireland bowling, geez, I don't know if we either made a prediction here.
I said Shah. I don't think he took a single wicket.
No, Simi Singh.
Yeah, sorry, Singh.
No wickets. He only bowled 5 overs, so you're robbed there. I won't lie, I don't know who I said. I think I said Boyd Rankin, and he didn't even play. So
pretty good from us.
We are insightful men. So yeah, that's all we've got today in terms of cricket. Just another short episode. I think the next one we're going to be chatting about the NFL top 100 list, and we'll be also discussing fantasy running backs. And then on Saturday's episode, we've got our 50th special where we get all the guests who have appeared on the show to talk about their favorite live sporting moments. So looking forward to that one. Anything else you want to say, Pilch?
No, mate. I think we've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I was going to, I don't know, ask you some questions about life, but I can't really be bothered. We may as well just wrap it up. But yeah, thanks for joining me, Filch, as always. Much appreciated.
No worries, mate. Pleasure.
Yeah, if you've been watching it and enjoyed it, chuck us a like, subscribe, whatever you do. If you've listened, chuck us a rating and a review. And yeah, stay tuned. 3 episodes a week. So thanks for listening and thanks for joining me.